All right, so we all are pretty ambitious, right? But the problem is, many of us pretend like we're not ambitious because we're afraid that we can't achieve big, extraordinary things, right? If you went to the average person in the street and you asked them, hey man, if you could succeed in an instant like that, what would you create? What would you make as your life? They will probably be like, oh man, I would be like the guy in charge. I would have this woman. I would have this big old mansion, Lamborghini. Right? I would be famous. I would be right. Like they would have like this lavish dream that they would want to have. But for them, it's just a fantasy, right? It's like they would make that a reality if they knew they couldn't fail. But then if you ask them, okay, what are you working on right now? They'd be like, oh, me, I'm trying to get promoted in my job, and hopefully soon I'll be the assistant manager, right? And like their dream, right, versus the thing they're actually shooting for, completely different visions. And the reason is because they don't think they can have that dream. To them, it really is just a fantasy. And I believe the reason why many people aren't as ambitious as they would be if they knew they could succeed at anything is because they think in really short time frames, right? So if you went to that same guy and you were like, hey man, why aren't you trying to be like, this massive billionaire celebrity guy who everybody respects, right? He'll tell you, oh, I don't think I can do it, right? But then it's like, what if I gave you 30 years? Do you think if every day for 30 years you worked on your dreams of having a mansion and being a celebrity and having the women of your dreams, do you think you can make that happen? Right? Most people would be like, yes, definitely in 30 years I can make that happen, right? And so he thinks that for some reason that he doesn't have the 30 years, right? He thinks that if you can't do it in 1 year, in 2 years, then it's not worth pursuing. That mindset is really, really fatal, right? If you are a person right now who isn't shooting for the stars and you think, oh, but like if that would take like 10 years to make happen, it's like you're gonna be alive for 10 years anyways, right? There is no point of 10 years from now not having the life you dream of just because it didn't take you a year or two, right? I mean, when you actually think about it, it's very, very flawed. Most people, if they gave themselves enough time horizon, like a long enough time horizon, they would actually shoot for like the thing they truly want, right? But because we all think in really short time frames, like in 6 months, in 1 year, we all shoot for like the thing that we can do in 6 months, right? We'll be like, oh, in 6 months, I can definitely be the assistant manager at my company, right? And so like they'll shoot for that. And like that's fine and all, but like if you actually just take a step back and zoom out and be like, where do I really want to be, and start shooting for that and be like, yes, it's gonna take me 10 years, but heck, I'm gonna be alive for those 10 years anyways. I might as well have the dream life in 10 years rather than like the mediocre life in 6 months from now. Everybody would shoot for that. It's just like they don't take the time to look at where they could be if they actually give themselves a long enough time horizon. All right, so whatever your dream is, bro, don't be afraid to go after it, right? Just give yourself enough time, right? Don't put the pressure on yourself to be a millionaire in 6 months, right? That's way too short of a time horizon, and it's not as convincing that you can make it happen, right? But you can be a millionaire in 2 years, right? It's just a matter of giving yourself enough time and allowing yourself, not allowing yourself not to be a magician, and understanding that these things take time, right? It doesn't happen right away. So whatever you're shooting for, see what you can do if you were to expand your time horizon and like to start thinking in terms of 10 years. And like, yeah, it's overwhelming, but if you actually think about it, you're gonna be alive in 10 years and you will want to be in that position in 10 years from now. Imagine if 10 years ago you were aiming to be this celebrity millionaire, very, very successful guy. Wouldn't you have put in the work for you to be a millionaire in this position now? All right, so think of yourself 10 years from now and you're gonna very, very much thank yourself if you actually carry through. All right, I hope that made sense. I hope that helped. Share the video and we'll see you in the next one.